What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Random Videos channel. In this video we're talking about Android N, or as Google is calling it, Android, not the real name. So basically we're just calling it N until they create an actual name for it. And it's probably going to be some variation of some food, because we know candy and marshmallow and jelly bean and ice cream sandwich and everything else that Google did with Android. So it's going to be something that we're going to be familiar with somewhat, because this is what Google does. Now, as far as Android N, or not the real name as they're saying, I think it's pretty interesting to myself, because from what I'm seeing, we are going to get split screen windows, as people were telling me on this channel, where I was not aware that I kind of forgot about what they were doing with Android N, or I keep saying not the real name because now they have it in my head that that's what they're calling it. They finally admit that they used a letter, or they're not going to say the actual name, whatever. The point of all of this is that what's fascinating to me about Android is that we're getting a better experience. They're changing the user interface, at least from the notifications point of view, because we're going to get some more summaries of the notifications that we get from a particular app. You also have more control of the app if you want to restrict data. Right now we have certain capabilities of doing that, but they're going to give you even more access to do things where you can only let an application access maybe one folder, and I think that's fantastic. It just makes sense when you want to have control over your own phone. Now, as far as the split screen, I can see it being really useful for a tablet. I've had some experience with this with TouchWiz. It was actually helpful sometimes. Now, I would think though, with the stock version of Android, you'll probably have a better experience than with TouchWiz, just as far as functionality. And as far as people ask me questions about Android, and I see them all the time on this channel in particular, the thing though is when you guys are trying to work on your phone, if you ever root your phone, if you're using an application on your phone that has root access to your phone, these kind of things could stop you from updating your phone properly. And that's why I see a lot of people tell me that their phone has crashed or they can't install updates. So the first thing that you want to do is actually root the phone, and you're going to have to use a PC or a Mac. And there's different instructions for doing that, either or. So you can Google it, you can look on YouTube, all sorts of ways to root your phone, get that root access, and then install what you want on your phone. When people were talking about this Android N on my channel, the reason why they were talking about it is because some of the people who watch my videos actually just root their phone and they can install a factory image from the Android website. So that's something that you might be interested in if you're a real fan of Android. For myself, I'm not always rooting my phone. I actually had a root to fix my phone because, again, the updates weren't working properly, so that's what I went ahead and did. But if you're someone who wants to get the newest updates from Android, then you should go to the Android website, you should get root access to your phone, and then you can install the updates. You just have to be careful about it because you don't want to brick your phone, obviously. But as far as Android N, where I think is most impressive to me is that the interface is going to be changing, it's going to get enhancements, we're going to see more development with the platform that is continuously getting better. And that's important to me because I see Google actually taking steps to make Android what it's supposed to be. And that is supposed to be a great performing platform where it doesn't interfere with applications that you use, and also where you have a lot of control over the phone. And that's important for Android users because that's the difference between using a platform like iOS versus Android. Look at iOS even with NFC. NFC has limited capabilities on iOS because Apple says, you know what, you can use NFC for that. Meanwhile, for Android, you can use NFC for anything that you want. And I think that's a real advantage with Android. So if you're someone who's considering even changing from iOS to Android, I think this new update from Android is going to be something to pay attention to. If you're not familiar with some of the Android devices, definitely check out the Nexus devices because those are some of the best that I think are being created for Android. But you guys can let me know what you think. Have you seen any other new features that you're impressed with Android? And post your comments down below. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.